Okay, a little bit more on transcribing and hints and tips and all that kind of thing towards that end. So what I'm going to suggest, and part of my role here, is to kind of curate recordings for you, because there's over 100 years of recorded jazz, and we're going to kind of start in the middle, at a period where the music was still kind of accessible, but kind of moving forward in all kinds of interesting ways into a more abstract expression. So the recording I'd like you to check out, and again, this is a process, you know, it's not something that you'll get in one listening. I'm still listening to this recording after decades of experience of it, and still learning lots and lots from it. So it's Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, recorded in 1959, which is a long time ago, and it was an experimental session. Basically, it was exploring the idea of modes, and again, if you're not familiar with that, that's something that we'll cover as well. But basically, it's improvisation based on scales rather than on chord changes. So rather than having to negotiate a harmonic progression and make all the chord changes, you get a duration on a scale. The interesting thing about the first track on this album is that it sticks to, once it gets up and running, sticks to the very traditional 32 bar AABA form that we've talked about before. So it's 8 bars repeated, 8 bars contrasting, back to the original 8 bars, and then the whole thing just goes round in a cycle. Each chorus is 32 bars long. So there's an initial written introduction, and you can tell it's written because of the left hand of the piano and the bass tie up, and it's a beautiful little abstract thing that they've kind of come up with that hints at what's to come, and then we get into the song with the bass line, and off it goes, and it sticks to the 32 bar form after that, I think, apart from the outro, which just kind of goes round and round on one chord from memory. So the thing to use this for initially is just to get a feel for that 32 bar form, just to count, just to listen, and just to keep up with when a chorus has passed and when we've moved on to the next one. And a big clue in this is the fact that the B section is the same as the A section, but just up a semitone. So your ear will hear that upward shift, and that's a big clue that we've moved into the second half of the tune. So you can really get a lot just out of listening to that and getting a feel for how the progression works. Also, the performances on this record are outstanding. Huge musical personalities here. Each player is a kind of virtuoso, and again has a voice in their own right. So you can listen to this album from the point of view of the trumpet, Miles Davis, or tenor sax, which is John Coltrane, or the alto, which is Cannonball Adderley, pianist Bill Evans, bass player Paul Chambers, and drummer Jimmy Cobb, all of which were doing their own thing with the music, and it's a combination that works together really well. So take some time to listen to this album. It's actually a very short album, and so you can listen to the whole album just to enjoy it, and then you can focus in more specifically on different elements. Just listen to the track to get a general feel for it, and then go back in and then try and kind of count and listen to the form. Listen to each soloist. Listen to how they treat the challenge of these modes, and how their language and how the density of the rhythms they use and all that kind of thing, and the way that they sound has an effect. So it's very different when you hear Bill Evans playing his piano solo than it is to John Coltrane playing his tenor solo. And that's kind of part of the fascination, that they're using the same material, D minor for the first 8 bars, repeated E flat minor for the B section, and back to D minor. So it's very simple, but then again, in the hands of master improvisers, it becomes a whole different thing. And the thing that's not to be underestimated as well is part of the atmosphere is the recorded sound. It's got a really beautiful ambience to it. So part of the reason why this music sounds so kind of timeless and kind of seems to float. So that would be my first bit of advice. Just listen to this and try and check out the form. It's very obvious when the B section is because you get a lift up to E flat minor. So it's on YouTube. There's several versions. Some are better in tune than others. But have a listen. If it's not an album that you're familiar with, then it's a really great place to start, because there's not really any sharp corners in this album. It's all, you know, it all kind of is very beautiful. So, and you can spend decades, as I have, listening and learning from this recording. So Kind of Blue, Miles Davis, recorded in 1959, and the first track, So What. Give it a good listen, and just, you know, try and get into the sound world, the language, the rhythms, the scales, the harmony that's used in that. So enjoy that.